और आप चेक कर
Hello. Am I audible and visible? Rajesh ji?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Rajesh ji? राजेश ज्वाइन तो कर लिया मैंने।
हाँ जी सर, कर दो शुरू।
नहीं मैं मतलब मैं आई विल ओनली स्पीक फॉर 5-10 मिनट्स।
1 मिनट के बाद करो। ठीक है, ओके।
ओके।
संदीप राइट साइड। ओके जी, ओके। प्लीज वंदना को बोलो स्टार्ट करें प्लीज। है
Okay, sir, I'm starting.
राइट, थैंक यू।
Warm greetings to one and all present on this virtual platform. We are all virtually together for webinar on national education policy, perspectives and challenges, being organized by IQAC under the patronage of Padma Shri Dr. Poonam Suri ji, President, DAV College Managing Committee, New Delhi, Honorable Shri Shiv Raman Gaur, IAS retired, Director, Higher Education, DAV College Managing Committee, New Delhi, worthy Dr. Krishnakant Gupta, Principal, Agarwal College, Ballabgarh, respected Principal Dr. R.K. Mahajan, faculty members, research scholars, and enthusiastic participants. I welcome you all. The prime task of internal quality assurance cell is to develop a system for consistent and catalytic improvement in the performance of the institutions. The IQAC channelizes the efforts and measures of an institution towards academic excellence. One of the important functions of IQAC is dissemination of information on various quality-related themes. Keeping this in view, the IQAC of the institute under the dynamic leadership of esteemed Principal Dr. R.K. Mahajan, has taken the initiative to organize this webinar. If we look at the previous years, we'll be surprised to know that there was no significant change in the education policy for a long time, and therefore, national education policy is a kind of reformatory movement. Thus, it is going to take the education system to new heights as it highlights some key changes in the entire education system. Thank you. Now, I request our worthy principal, Dr. R.K. Mahajan, to say a few words. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Good morning to all of you. It's audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I extend my sincere wishes for the well-being of every one of you in these times of pandemic crisis. Friends, for the last 60 years, DAV College of Abohar has been pioneering quality education for its students to make them well equipped for their bright future. And during these years, the college has achieved great heights in every field, be it in the field of academic, co-curriculars, culturals, or sport. This is one of the most prestigious colleges of Punjab University, and it will be no exaggeration if I say that our college is one of the best colleges in Punjab. In the series of webinar organized by DAV College of Abohar, today we all are connected to one another for this webinar entitled National Education Policy, Perspective and Challenges, being organized by IQAC DAV College of Abohar. It gives me immense pleasure and I feel privileged to personally welcome Shri Shivraman Goaji, ISD Colonel, presently Director Higher Education, DAV College, Managing Committee, New Delhi, who has been graciously consented to be a part of our humble efforts. He worked as an IS officer from 1978 to 2014 in Government of Haryana. He has also worked as additional principal secretary to Chief Minister from March 2011 to April 2014. Moreover, he worked as principal secretary to Government of Haryana from October 2013 to April 2014, and during the tenure, he was coordinator of overall functioning of Department of Medical Education and Research. Sir had also worked as Haryana State Education Commissioners from June 2014 to April 2019, during which he looked after other cases in the state. Presently, he is monitoring and look after more than 77 DAV colleges and university across India. Sir, on behalf of DAV faculty in general and DAV colleges in particular, I welcome you, sir, and thanking you for being kind enough to spare some time from your very busy schedule. Shivraman God, sir, personally, I especially thanks for my core of heart. You spared some time for our college for a few times. I know you have been attending a meeting in Chandigarh afterwards. Once again, sir, thanks for my core of heart. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Our second eminent speaker in today's webinar is Krishan Kant Gupta ji, that is Principal Agrawal College, Ballabgarh, who is also a great educationist and a researcher. And I feel grateful that he is also gracious enough to give his consent and accepted our proposal to be one of the speaker in this webinar, sir. I welcome you to for this academic events. Once again, Gupta ji, I personally thanks to sparing some time. Thank you very much. Dear participants, I would congratulate IQAC DAV College of Abohar to organize a webinar on such a topical and contemporary themes on as national education policy. National policy on education has been revised after a period of 34 years, earlier being in 1986. New Education Policy 2020 will prove to be a milestone in the field of education as it touched many new aspects which were so badly needed. It aims at providing quality educations with special focus on historical, marginalized, disadvantages, and underrepresented groups. It targets in giving highest priority to achieve universal foundational literacy and numeracy in primary schools by 2025. And it will be made available on digital infrastructures on knowledge sharing Diksha. This policy also focuses on effective governance through school complexes and cluster. As far as the higher education is concerned, new education policy 2020 objective of providing quality higher education to well-paying, enlightened, socially conscious, knowledgeable, and skilled nations. Multidisciplinary colleges and university offering undergraduate and postgraduate program with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement will be established for the creation of vibrant multidisciplinary community. Most importantly, the thrust area of new education policy would be to include choice-based credit system in the area of community services, climate changes, waste management, conservation of biological diversity, and value-based education. Dear friends, not making much of time and not remaining between you and our distinguished speaker, I once again welcome you all for the webinar. Thanks you very much once again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I feel honored and privileged to invite Shri Shiv Raman Gaur, IAS retired, the keynote speaker of commendable excellence. Hailing from an illustrious family of educationists, Shri Shiv Raman Gaur is having a long list of degrees and diplomas to his credit. To name a few, MA MPhil in English, LLM, and Diploma in Information and Technology. He has worked in the capacity of State Information Commissioner, Principal Secretary, and Financial Commissioner, Medical Education and Research Department, Government of Haryana. He also served the nation by providing his valuable services as an IAS officer, is known for his outstanding achievements and remarkable role he played. He is a multidimensional persona, an outstanding academician, an eloquent orator, and administered par excellence. Presently, working as Director, Higher Education, DAV College Managing Committee. Sir, kindly enrich us today with your immense knowledge and insightful discourse. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I'm audible and visible both, I think.
Yes, yes,
Sir,
sir.
you are.
First of all, I must beg your pardon, everybody, that I was a little late in coming over. I just forgot. Sorry to say it. I went for a long walk and came back and just was looking at my mobile phone, which was lying in the garden. Suddenly, I was reminded of the face of Dr. Varesh Mahajan. I was to appear before a webinar. Anyhow, uh, this is just a side remark. I welcome and also congratulate the management of this college, Dr. Rajesh Mahajanji, principal, the guest speakers, the participants, Vandana Chawla ji and others, and to make this effort a big success, because national education policy has been debated long now for about more than 1 year, and the Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is likely to be again renamed as Ministry of Education in the state, you see, there have been lacks of responses. You see, on an invitation from the Ministry of Human Resource, that how people feel and react to the policy document which has been prepared after such a long time. As Dr. Saab mentioned, that it was long back 1985 and 86 when the policy was formulated at the national level for educational program of the state and the private stakeholders. This document was much awaited, and I must congratulate the people who have really worked hard to produce this document. And a lot of work has gone into this document preparation, which has been, which is going to be, I think, notified soon, if I'm not, and many of the, some of the suggestions made by some people around India and abroad have been incorporated in the new policy document. I must say that the education policy, which has now been put in place by Government of India, basically gives a very, very big and huge canvas for the stakeholders, for the faculties, for the student community, for people who are engaged in the you see, avocation of education. And there's a lot of suggestions which have been made, lot of policy directives that have been included in this document. And we see, although there have been some suggestions that the goal lines to be met by this policy document have to be basically the roadmap also is in some of the points they have given. But much will depend upon us all. My main topic today would be my main emphasis would be that the people who are in the field, for example, the faculty, the principals, the administrators, the educational administrators, these people basically will have to work hard, and they will have to basically coordinate, and they will have to bring about synergy in their efforts to bring about the desired changes in the education system. Sometime when I was myself as a teacher to start with, as a lecturer. Today they are called assistant professors. As a lecturer in a private college and later on in a government college, I used to feel that the profession of education was taken as a job, as a four period job, for example. And many senior teachers, when I joined as at the age of 21 as assistant professor, they would say just भाई मेरा तो आज 2 पीरियड ही हैं या मेरे 3 पीरियड ही हैं और and then फिर वो तफरी स्टार्ट हो जाती थी. So I would just look at those and I would also discuss with them, and they say that the decline has set in, and this is, I'm talking about the year 1975, 76. And although I belong to a family of education, my grandfather, my father, etc., they all were in the field of education, but they always considered education as an avocation, means a missionary profession with a zeal to basically impart knowledge and information, and to prepare the students at all levels to become responsible citizens, and also thinking individuals, and who are equipped with all qualities of basically mind and heart to face the challenges of life. This was the broad parameter, and teachers used to basically concentrate upon the students, particularly in schools, and they have a personal touch with the students, and it was so much that I still remember my teachers when I was a student in the college as well as schools. But over the years, this has become just a routine job of 4 periods and so on, and the rut of completing the syllabus, which is rarely revised. Another thing is that the contents of the syllabi, basically at various classes, are not revised frequently as they should be. So these are basically the drawbacks and the gap between the education and the job market, and the imparting of skill, for example, is a very huge gap. And this gap basically is basically focused in the education policy that we have thus today, that this gap should be bridged. So when I was reading at this document, although I have not read the full document, but on higher education part and some vocational education part, and some executive summary of the document, and even the higher secondary part of this document, I found that 3-4 very welcome changes have been made in the document, in the policy. First is that you find that in India, we find that there is a very strong compartmentalization of streams of education. For example, a person who is in the humanities stream rarely gets an opportunity, or he's not allowed by the university and the system to basically study any other subject of any other stream, for example. He is unable to, for example, if he's a student of political science and history, and he wants to read something about, for example, he wants to read, he has some special interest in literature, for example. or he has some special interest in some science subject, for example. He may have some interest in chemistry, for example. So he is not allowed. He is not allowed at all. So this approach, when I was higher education commissioner of Haryana, I used to basically struggle with uh, my teaching faculty and the university professors and vice chancellors, and I would always say that there should not be too much of tight compartmentalization of various streams of education, and there should be some sort of a flexibility about the system. People should be able to read something which they want to read, they want to study, for example. So if this is the one area where this national education policy has really touched it, and they are now propagating the multidisciplinary sort of education, that there should be minors and majors, and if you want to read, for example, engineering graduate wants to do something, some study of music as an additional subject, he can do it, or he wants to read, for example, psychology, he can basically study it. If you go a little higher in the higher education, you find that many subjects are basically linked with each other. For example, in industrial relation, when we talk of industrial relation, or when we talk of labor, we talk of psychology. And when we talk of managerial skills, we talk of economics. And then we talk of commerce. And similarly, for example, we can go into the history of any subject, for example. So many subjects are linked. And human faculty, basically, when I was a student of psychology myself, human faculty has two basic qualities. One is the, you can say, general G factor of intelligence. The other is called the S factor of intelligence. The G factor is the general factor of intelligence, and S factor is the special factor of intelligence. Everybody has got a G factor and S factor. So whenever I am studying some G factor subjects, I have some interest in S factor also. So there has to be some combination, some sort of a synergy between the G factor and S factor. And compartmentalization basically restrict the development of personality and restrict the development of individual as a whole. So I am very happy that now the multidisciplinary approach is there in the higher education, and the universities and higher education institutions will catch hold of this idea and try to formulate and amend their calendars of university calendars, and to make the whole thing multidisciplinary. I must, forewarn that, to bring about the whole policy on the ground, it will take some time. It is not going to happen just overnight. It has to take some time, and but you see, ideas are there now, goal lines are there, directions are there, and we should proceed under these directions. The second feature, which I am really very happy about it, is the basic emphasis upon the vocational education. You see, when we were students, we found that अगर किसी का पॉलिटेक्निक में एडमिशन हो जाता था या आईटीआई में एडमिशन हो जाता था, तो हम सोचते थे ये सेकंड ग्रेड स्टूडेंट है, ये क्या है, कुछ नहीं है, तो he will be a plumber, he will be carpenter, he will be just electrician, and उसको थोड़ी सी हिमाकत की, आप कह सकते हैं, उसको थोड़ी दूसरी निगाह से देखा जाता था. मतलब there was a stigma attached to the vocational education. So in the new educational policy, I found that efforts are being made, and basically outlined that stigma of vocational education has to be removed from the educational system. So a person who is having a, for example, a certificate course on some trade or some political, some this polytechnic courses, industrial courses, industrial training courses, they have higher levels of courses in the same stream. For example, he can be a degree holder, he can be a diploma holder, he can be a degree holder, and he can even be a postgraduate degree in plumbing, for example, and in some sort of a vocational education, this thing. Although we have got BVOC programs now, the UGC programs are there, but sometime I feel that there's a gap, still gap. These programs are not related to the industry, for example. They are not related to the industry, and the course content basically is so designed that there is very little room for the local administrators and for the local teaching faculty to improve upon or to make amends in the course content. So this is actually basically the vocational education and the relationship with the industry, where the person has to go ultimately after his vocational education certificates and diplomas and degrees. He has to be meaningfully employed in the industry. You will find that if you visit industry, you will always the managers of the industry or the owners of the factories and industry will tell you कि सर वो आपका जो भी आपके बच्चे आते हैं वो हमारे यहाँ किसी काम के नहीं है, उनको हम एम्प्लॉय नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि हमें जो चाहिए वो आप पढ़ाते नहीं है और जो हमें अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट है वो आपके सिलेबस में भी नहीं है। तो ये जो गैप है, ये गैप कई बार बड़ा अजीब सा लगता है कि भाई हम इतने इंटेलेक्चुअल्स हैं, इतनी सारी बात सोचते हैं, लेकिन इस गैप को पूरा नहीं कर पा रहे। तो मेरा इसमें व्यू ये रहेगा कि वोकेशनल एजुकेशन के जो भी प्रोग्राम्स चल रहे हैं उनको आप लोकल रिक्वायरमेंट के अनुसार, स्टेट की रीजनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स के अनुसार उन कोर्सेज को थोड़ा सा अमेंड करवाइए और यूजीसी के साथ, यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ, जो और दूसरी अथॉरिटीज़ हैं उनके साथ मिलके एक समन्वय करें, वर्कशॉप्स करें, मतलब वो कोर्स जो है ज़्यादा यूजफुल हो जाए, उसका प्रैक्टिकल हैंड ऑन एक्सपीरियंस फॉर एग्जांपल वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वर्क ऑन एक्सपीरियंस एग्जांपल बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो उसमें फिर क्या होगा कि बच्चा जो है फुली ट्रेंड या मतलब 75% ट्रेंड ही जाएगा और वो जाके सीधा अपना काम संभाल लेगा। अदरवाइज क्या होता है आज के दिन के जो इंडस्ट्री है वो आपके बच्चों को ले लेती है, उनको कम से कम लाखों रुपया खर्च करना पड़ता है उनकी ट्रेनिंग के ऊपर, just to make them more employable and easy efficient in the industry system. As compared to this system, सबसे बढ़िया सिस्टम जो मैंने देखा वो जर्मनी का है, जर्मनी का है, जापान का है, कोरिया का है। इन लोगों का जो सिस्टम है वोकेशनल एजुकेशन का वो वर्क स्टेशन में ही है, वर्क स्टेशन में ही बैठे हुए हैं। वर्क स्टेशन के थोड़ा से एरिया में उन्होंने क्लासरूम बनाया हुआ है, वर्क स्टेशन में ही उनके सारे इक्विपमेंट रखे हुए हैं, वहीं उनके टूल्स रखे हुए हैं, वहीं पे उनका टीचर आता है, वही वो फैकल्टी वहाँ पढ़ाती है, वहीं मौके पे ही उनका एक्सपेरिमेंट होता है। तो जब वर्क स्टेशन जो एक छोटा सा बना हुआ है वही उनका एक किस्म का आप कह सकते हैं नर्सरी है, इंक्यूबेटरी है, जिसके अंदर बच्चा बहुत बढ़िया तैयार होकर मार्केट के लिए जॉब चला जाता है। हमारे यहाँ पे क्या प्रॉब्लम है कि छोटी से छोटी बात के लिए फिर उसको जो है एक दूसरे लेवल पे जाना पड़ेगा, उसको वो अपना गियर चेंज करना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए उसको ना समय मिलता ना पैसा उसके पास है, तो वो बीच में आधा अधूरा रह जाता है। वोकेशनल एजुकेशन हमारी आधी अधूरी मैं मानता हूँ। तो ये जो नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आई है, आई थिंक यू आर हैप्पी विद माई टॉकिंग इन 2 लैंग्वेजेस, हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश। तो थोड़ा आपको प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है ना? तो मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि भी वोकेशनल एजुकेशन में हमें थोड़ा ज़्यादा मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत है और इसको ज़्यादा मीनिंगफुल बनाने की ज़रूरत है, नए कोर्सेज को डेवलप करने की ज़रूरत है। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मैं बताता हूँ कि अब एनसीआर रीजन आप ले लें, एनसीआर रीजन में गुड़गांव ले लें, फरीदाबाद तो नहीं, गुड़गांव मैं कहता हूँ, दिल्ली ले लें। अब यहाँ पर अगर गुड़गांव शहर आप देखें तो इसमें कम से कम भी 1 लाख से ज़्यादा जापानीज रहते हैं गुड़गांव में, और 75 से 90 हज़ार जो है कोरियंस रहते हैं, और इस तरह से यूरोपियंस रहते हैं, साउथ अफ्रीकन्स रहते हैं। अब इन लोगों की जो ईटिंग हैबिट्स हैं वो हमारी बिल्कुल डिफरेंट है। तो मतलब कहने का मेरा ये है कि मल्टी क्यूजीन के जो कोर्सेज हैं और वो इनके लिए यहाँ पर चलाए जा सकते हैं, और ये हाथों जो है ले लेंगे लोगों को, अगर मान लो कॉम्पिटेंट हैं तो ये तो ढूंढते फिरते हैं कि हमारे को ऐसा कोई मिल जाए, क्योंकि अगर ये मंगाते हैं कोरियन को और यहाँ पर अपने उसको शेफ के रूप में इसको रखते हैं तो बहुत सारे पैसे खर्च करने पड़ते हैं इनको। इवन जापानीज़ को बाहर से मंगा के बहुत पैसे खर्च करने पड़ते हैं। अगर लोकल इनको मिल जाएगा तो इनका खर्चा वगैरह बहुत कम हो जाता है। मेरा कहने का मतलब प्रैक्टिकल ये चीज़ें हैं जिनको हमें सोचना चाहिए, और बहुत सारे कोर्सेज हम डिज़ाइन कर सकते हैं, बट इसमें यही है कि आप लोगों को यू विल हैव टू थिंक हार्ड ऑन दिस कि व्हाट इज़ द changing scenario of job market in the country, what is the requirement of the area, what are the new trends which are basically happening, digitalization, for example, alternate intelligence, for example, now coming up, and the life of human life is going to have a huge change, you see, after 10 years, 15 years. And you'll find that our kids who are so smart, they really will be different kids, you see. They were very difficult to basically handle them unless you yourself are well equipped to understand and communicate with them at an intelligent level. So this change is occurring, and we should be prepared for it. And our students, for example, in rural areas, in semi-urban areas, like above semi-urban areas, basically the students should be given exposure to what is happening in the world around, what is happening all around, and they should be given documentaries. They should be shown, and beautiful documentaries are there on working culture, on working solutions to the problems, and very important and critical subjects like environmental studies, for example. You'll find that these students will be given a, I must say, a big canvas to think about, to know about, and they should not be having a feeling in their heart कि मैं तो अबोहर का रहने वाला हूँ, या मैं तो मलोट का रहने वाला हूँ, ये दिल्ली का है, या जयपुर में पढ़ता है, तो मेरा इसके क्या मुकाबला. ऐसा नहीं है. The whole world has really shrunk, and कोई ऐसा लंबा चौड़ा फर्क नहीं रहा because of the communication system that have developed. तीसरी जो बात है जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में है, वो ये है कि इसमें कभी भी कोई आदमी एजुकेशन स्ट्रीम में आ सकता है और कभी भी जा सकता है. अब आप देखते हैं कि when I was a student, I couldn't complete my MPhil because I joined services. So when I was higher education commissioner, I became the member of executive council of all the universities in the state of Haryana. So once I was sitting in a meeting and the vice chancellor told me we are giving an opportunity to those people who discontinued their studies for the last 10 years, and now we have given them an opportunity to complete their courses. So that I said it's a welcome step. I'm very happy about it. But why are you putting an embargo of 10 years? Why don't you allow that anybody who has not been able to complete his course, let him be given a chance to complete the course? He said, sir, the idea is good. But there's one member who was my class fellow. He said कि सर जो कह रहे हैं उनका एक और भी आशय है. तो वो कहने लगे क्या है. तो उन्होंने कहा कि भी ये आशय है कि इनका अपना एमफिल का कोर्स भी कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ है. तो अभी इनको 25-30 साल हो गए उसको छोड़े हुए. So now he will get an opportunity to complete his MPhil course. So there was a clapping and everybody said that you should be given a chance. I completed my course, MPhil course, and I was very happy about it. Although it was basically, it had nothing to do with my career, but it was a psychological satisfaction that I was able to. I was a topper in the written examination, was unable to complete my dissertation. So anyhow, so this sort of a, arrangement should be there. Now it is a part of the policy. If somebody has not been able to complete his course at the graduate level, he can come out of the stream, do some job here and there, find that he has to complete his course. He comes back, he will be admitted again in the college, in the university. He will complete his job, he will complete his course, get a degree or diploma, whatever, and then go back into the work area. So this freedom now has become a part of the national education policy. And we should also be basically now telling the universities wherever we go that this arrangement must be there. You will find that many dropouts which have not been able to complete their education, they will come back and study for a year or so and ultimately get their degrees and diplomas, whatever. Another good feature about this national education policy that, for example, if somebody is doing some vocational course or some other course, commerce course or humanities course or economics, psychology, anything he's reading, and he has completed only 2 years, and then he had to leave. So some sort of a some certificate or some sort of a diploma sort of a thing will be awarded to him. Some certificate will be given to him that you have completed 2 years of this thing, and a certificate to that effect is given to you. whatever use he can make use of that, that is up to him. And if he completes a degree, then I said he will be awarded degree. So I feel that the flexibility that has been brought into the system by new education policy is a very, very welcome step, and it will go a long way in shaping our educational and vocational process in the country. But as I said, that educational administrators, the principals, the teaching faculties, and the people who are associated with education, they must grab these ideas and try to implement them. And I would also request Dr. Rajesh Mahajan to assign some tasks and jobs to your well-meaning faculty, that they should read the document and try to find out give some practical solutions, practical suggestions also to how to bring about these changes in the system, and then document those efforts. Those documented effort can be sent to the UGC or Ministry of Education or state universities, even a copy to me. I can forward it to some concerned authorities for making any amendments in the whole thing. Then I would like to basically highlight another issue which is not a part of the education policy. You find that in the fee structure, because education basically somebody was saying in a meeting that higher education is not a profitable thing. I was wondering the word profitable, because profit to whom? Profit to people who are running the show, or profit to the people who are getting training, or profit to the people who are teaching? Anyhow, it is not a commercial venture, I agree. Higher education, imparting of higher education by university or institution is not a commercial venture. It has got some sort of a higher purpose for which we have to make a sacrifice. But anyhow, without money you cannot do anything. Therefore, the fee structure basically has to be rationalized at the higher levels, even at school levels. The people who are private stakeholders, they should be allowed to basically redesign their fee structures in order so that they are able to provide a quality infrastructure, a quality teaching faculties, and a quality environment where students can be trained and given education. So I was basically thinking aloud on a concept which I call facility index. Facility index, I was talking to some people. And I will also request Dr. Mahajan to basically develop a sort of a small paper on this. Facility index, for example, schools and colleges. For example, your college, Abohar, it is giving some sort of a infrastructure they have, and some new facilities they are providing, some new some laboratory. Their laboratories are much more equipped and quality wise and this thing. So they can always say, sir, we are having this facility with us, and these things are, for example, you have a swimming pool, you have a stadia, you have multi gyms, and so also all sorts of things are there. And there may be many colleges which may not have all this. So you can have a facility index which should be linked with a fee, that I want to say. For example, if you want to maintain a facility index, you can basically say that we can charge this thing for that. And I think that if you have a good logic on this, no courts can interfere. Though no courts would like to interfere. And many courts, even in the latest judgments, we found that parent organizations and these people went to the court that because of COVID, we are on. Court said no, without charging, how can you fund education? You have to pay. And they allow people now and like. So my contention is that the fee structure, they should be private players, private states. They should have, and although they can be basically accounted for, it's possible for they will be allowed to provide their income tax. What money you are getting out of the fee, how much tax you pay, how much donation you pay. So my idea, ये जो फीस जो किया हुआ है ये डिस्ट्रिक्ट चार्ज कर सकते हैं, आपको फैसिलिटी सारी देंगे, आप इतना नहीं चार्ज कर सकते। ये जो एक विरोधाभास है उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा जो है हमें और हर लेवल के ऊपर बात करनी चाहिए। So I wish the organizers a great provoking session today, and the speakers, I expect that they will be giving much more details of the national education policy, challenges and perspectives. I have given a small brief idea of what I have comprehended, and the people who are Professor Agarwal, I know him, Mr. Gupta, Mr. Agarwal, वो जो बल्लभगढ़ में प्रिंसिपल हैं, फरीदाबाद में बल्लभगढ़ में, आई एम नॉट श्योर, तो उनका भी बड़ा इसमें दखल है हायर एजुकेशन में, तो उनसे भी बड़ी उम्मीद है कि वो आज अच्छा नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी पे अपनी बात कहेंगे। और दूसरे पार्टिसिपेंट से मेरी ये गुजारिश है कि वो अपनी बात पूछें और अपने डाउट्स को क्लियर करें और कुछ सजेशन देना चाहें तो दें। तो मैं ऑर्गेनाइजर्स को फिर दोबारा से जो है कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट करता हूँ और शुभकामना करता हूँ कि आपका ये वेबिनार जो है वो सफल हो और आपने जो भी आपका मकसद है इसको करने का वो पूरा हो। जय हिंद, धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views and disseminating knowledge. Thanks a lot. Now I take the opportunity to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Krishnakant Gupta, Principal, Agarwal College, Ballabgarh, a great academician and administrator with 30 plus years of teaching and administrative experience. I take pride to share that he is a recipient of numerous awards, a prolific writer who has authored 9 books and published a number of research papers. Recently, he has been nominated as member General Council MAC. We look forward for an engaging lecture from an outstanding speaker. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vandana ji. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Before I share my views on the topic of this webinar, Shivraman Gaurji, Director Higher Education, DAV College Managing Committee, New Delhi, Dr. Mahajan, Principal of DAV College, Abohar, the organizers of this seminar, Ullar Saab, my friend Rajesh Khatri ji, Vandana Munjal ji, Saurabh ji, Suresh Sharma ji, other faculty members of DAV College and nearby colleges, research scholars, one and all present in this webinar. At the outset, I wish to thank the managing committee and the principal of the college for taking me on board for this webinar and share my views on National Education Policy 2020 perspectives and challenges. God Sahab has already set the tone of the house and he has touched upon several related aspects, maybe the positive aspects or challenges. But whatever I have gone with policy document and whatever I have conceived and perceived, that I would like to share with you. So I would like to share my presentation with you, Vandana ji. Window na? Window क्या होगा? Yes. Sure. Share. As has already been declared that the title of the today's webinar is National Education Policy, Perspectives and Challenges. First of all, I must thank Vandana ji for such a nice introduction of myself. I would like to share with you all that our college is accredited A++ by NAC. And I'm happy to tell you that this is the first college in the entire country, affiliated colleges, who got A++ grade during accreditation in 1919. The new education policy has already been declared, and with the advent of this policy, new era of education with strong foundation on Indian core values and global standards is dawning in India. It has seeds of a total paradigm shift of education in this country. It will re-establish the purpose of education with more wider, comprehensive and holistic view. Knowingly, I have used this word re-establish because whatever is expected of this National Education Policy 2020, it used to be in our country long back. But within a period of say 100 years or so, there were certain developments which narrow down the standards of education in our country, and this whole problem arose, which is expected to be removed with the implementation, successful implementation of this National Education Policy 2020. So it is likely to re-establish the purpose of education. Each nation has its own realization, and this realization arises from historical realization or perception. किसी ने ठीक कहा है कि हर राष्ट्र का अपना एक बोध होता है और इसकी अनुभूति इतिहास बोध से ही उत्पन्न होती है. We should know the true identity of our own country, its knowledge, tradition and practices. India's culture from Ayurveda to science, Stone Age to nanotechnology, and literate to educate to skill. Role of higher education in national building, historical perspective. You all know this, the role of higher education is very important in nation building. India has always made the right use of knowledge and benefited the world. The existence of universities like Nalanda, Takshila, Vikramshila and Vallabhpuri in ancient India is a sufficient proof that India has an old and rich tradition of education that has established India as the Vishwaguru. These ancient universities of education have attracted scholars from all over the world, including Tibet, China, Greece, France, and Central Asia. The knowledge systems of India in the form of Vedas and Upanishads can be traced back to 1800 BC and 800 BC respectively. These are some of the glimpses which we are proud of. These are the ruins of Nalanda, 600 years, Bihar, Learning Center Takshila, Northeast Pakistan, 2700 years, Bodh Monastery, ruins of Vikramshila University, Bhagalpur, district of modern day Bihar, 400 years ago. What did they produce? Chanakya, great political master, was famous management consultant in India after Krishna and Shakuni. He authored the world's finest work till today on political duties, statecraft, economic policies, state intelligence systems, administrative skills and military strategy, called the Arthashastra. Another one, the Panini. He was an expert in language and grammar and authored one of the greatest works on grammar ever written, called Ashtadhyayi. Yet another, Vishnu Sharma, the author of the great book that teaches the art of political science in the form of simple, beautiful stories, called the Panchtantra. Chakra, the famous ancient Indian Ayurvedic physician, authored the Chakra Samhita. Chakra said, a physician who fails to enter the body of a patient with the lamp of knowledge and understanding can never treat diseases. Jivat, he was a doctor and an expert in pulse reading. His areas of specialization was Panchkarma, Marma and surgery. Swadese Pujite Murkha, Swagrame Pujite Prabhu, Swadese Pujite Raja, Vidwan Sarvatra Pujite. So this is the value of intelligence. He is worshipped all over the world. Some other universities. We talk of multidisciplinary vocational and skill education. But let me share with you that it used to be in olden times also. If you look at the ancient Indian literary works, Manbhat Kadambari, there was knowledge of 64 kalas. It was not only art, not only singing and dancing and painting, but it includes scientific, vocational, professional, medicinal and engineering, as well as soft skills. So this is not a new concept, that we have to develop vocational skills, communication skills, life skills, social skills among the students. These used to be in our curricula. Basically what people do, they usually do not make a difference between the syllabus and curricula. They consider curricula as the syllabus. But what I understand is that curriculum is the overall preparedness of an institution to deliver the syllabi to the students. And all these multi-dimensional, multi-functional and vocational and all other professional skills, they used to be in the curriculum in ancient times too. The education system that was built in ancient India was much better than the education system of the contemporary world. But in the course of time, Indian education system declined and foreigners did not develop the education system in the proportion it should have been. Indian education system faced many challenges and problems during its transition period. Even today, these challenges are before us and we have to deal with them. And what I personally feel that the National Education Policy 2020 is there to deal with all such challenges. The practice of Gurukul continued in India till 1850, but due to the onset of Macaulay education system, the ancient education system of India came to an end and many Gurukuls were broken in India and convents and public schools were opened in their place. Probably the National Education Policy 2020 will pave a new path to revive golden period and making India Vishwaguru again. Why there was a need of National Education Policy 2020? Let us look at the causes which compelled the policymakers, the thinkers, the political leaders, the academic leaders to work on a new education policy which can address to these issues, which is known as National Education Policy. The present education system is a factory model of education. We do not distinguish between the IQ level of the students who are coming to our educational institutions. We simply consider them as a raw material and they are subjected to a standard process of education as in a factory, and finally they get the degrees when they are graduated or post-graduated, and even from schools when they pass out, they are sent to the market. But how a living human being can behave in the same way as a raw material in a factory behaves? We have to identify between the IQ levels of the students who are entering at stage 1, and that is there which has been incorporated in this National Education Policy 2020. See this, all the students who are graduated, they are subjected to the same selection process. For a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam, and there are certain animals who are there in the picture, like there are students who are graduated. If you ask a fish to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid, because the fish has not got that potential to climb a tree. So this way, we have to identify the students and we have to identify their potential. And I always say that every child is a bright child. गौड साहब भी बात कर रहे थे जनरल फैक्टर ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस एंड स्पेसिफिक फैक्टर ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस. Every child has some specific factor of intelligence. The need of the time is that as a teacher, we have to identify his potential and then we have to groom it. And I personally feel that in the National Education Policy 2020, all these type of processes and facilities, they will be provided to the students who are coming to our institutions. The present system is, I will teach you concept of physics. I have taken the example of physics because I am a student of physics personally. And on second window, I will teach you how to get 90% in physics. So you can see this picture that there is a large crowd where it is a marks fetching phenomena, and where they want to concept of it, there is no student. So this is the present education system where the students are running not after the knowledge but after the marks. So we have to deal with this also. This is the real situation in our country, that the whole stress is on the student. The teacher is enjoying, the university is enjoying, the whole stress is on students. My earlier speaker was also saying that कॉलेज में जब कहते हैं कि आज तो 2 ही पीरियड हैं, बाकी सारा टाइम मजा करेंगे, So this should not be the thinking of the teachers. All is not well with higher education. This is a real story in this time. When the small boy, he enters the school, he's laughing. He's in, this is a concave shape. But when he progresses from school to college to university, the shape changes from concave to convex. He is under a lot of stress because he feels that his life is not set even after spending 15, 16, 17 years in the educational institutions. So what is the requirement? The requirement is education system has to be tailor-made to suit the requirements of the society at large and economy in particular. There should be holistic approach towards inquiry-based, discovery-based, discussion-based, and analysis-based learning. What I personally feel that at present in educational institutions, there is no discussion in classes. Even if a student is inquisitive and he asks some questions in the class, usually the teachers discourage the students. So we have to encourage the students that they can put their inquiries if there is some concept in his mind and that is related to some discovery or discussion or analysis. We as teachers, we should encourage all these practices in our classes. Holistic perspective and liberal education. Holistic approaches to child development and learning recognize the connectedness of mind, body, and spirit. When early learning and child care workers take a holistic approach, they pay attention to children's physical, personal, social, emotional, creative, and spiritual well-being, as well as cognitive aspects of learning. Because to develop certain qualities among a child when he is 5+ age, that is very, very important. As usually people say that up to the age of 10 years, 60% of the mind of a children is developed. So that is very most sensitive time. All-round development means that we focus and emphasize more on the soft and life skills than the academic development of the child. But usually what is happening at present, we only focus on the academic development. The students run after the percentage. And in that rat race, the soft skills and life skills, they are left behind and they are not developed among the students. So we as a teacher, we have educational institutions, we have to think of it. This is a scenario of vocational education, as Mr. God was also talking. In South area, vocational education enrollment is 96%. In Germany, it is 75%. In USA, it is 52%. And if we talk of our own country, India, it is less than 5%. If we take the enrollment of students among the age group of 19 to 25. So friends, there is a strong urgency and need of spread of vocational education in our country. Usually people talk of Bloom's taxonomy and it starts from remembering up to creation. And these are the various phases: remembering, understanding, applying, analyze, evaluate, and create. And these different phases are at different stages or different ages of the child. But what I personally feel that now from Bloom's taxonomy, we have to switch over to Guru taxonomy, where a teacher has to behave as a guru. Usually in institutions, we talk about mentors. Why there was a need of putting mentors in educational institutions, where a small group of students is assigned to a teacher and he takes care of his personal problems also besides his academic problems. So in that way, a teacher becomes a guru. Teacher gives information, knowledge, and skill, what is prevalent these days presently in our country. And Pandit gives information, knowledge, skill, and insights. Drishta gives information, knowledge, skills, insights, and vision. And a guru, a true guru, gives information, knowledge, skill, insights, vision, and awakening. Awakening is very, very important. And once your student is awakened, apart from getting information, knowledge, skills, insights, and vision, he becomes a perfect human being who can significantly contribute in the development of the society and the development of the nation. There is a strong need to reorient education that strives towards a vibrant, prosperous, enlightened system, generating knowledge and new ideas so as to make it locally need-based, socially relevant, nationally important, and globally significant. The unveiling of National Education Policy 2020 is a momentous occasion in our education history, since it is the first in 21st century after 34 years. There had been coming various education policies in Earlier times also, there were certain good things also in those policies, but the problem was on the implementation. And since the implementation was not proper, the desired results were not achieved. And similarly, here also in NEP 2020, as we are discussing the perspectives and challenges, perspectives are good, perspectives are high, but the challenges are equally high. Challenges are equally big. So we have to think over those things also. Background of NEP 2020 replaces 34-year-old policy of 1986. Comparative view, 1968, it was free and compulsory education up to 40 years of age, common education framework, 3 language formula, English and Hindi, composite culture. 1986 policy, 10 plus 2 plus 3 structure, inclusion of women, SC/ST minorities, adult education, professional education, research, open universities, low cost books, computer literacy, role of teachers, and diet. Review in 5 years. But probably no review was made. 2020, India as knowledge hub, foundational pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability, a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by making both school and college education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. Evaluation of education policy, you all know about it. University Education Commission 48-49, Secondary Education Commission, then Education Commission under D.S. Kothari. If you go through the preamble of Kothari Education Commission given by D.S. Kothari, the first line starts with the future of India is being shaped in her classrooms. Just think over this statement. How much responsibility was given to the teachers? The future of India is being shaped in our classrooms. As a teachers, we should think that could we come up to the expectations of the report of the commission, that we develop the future of India in our classes? I think there are certain lapses, there are certain lag which we should think over. National Policy on Education 86, modified 1992. Then Subramanian Committee also came, they proposed a huge big draft, and finally K. Kasturi Ranganji Committee, and they finally submitted their report, and NEP 2020 likely to be implemented by 2022 in phases and sequences. There was a huge consultation, as Mr. God was also talking about. Nearly 2.5 lakhs gram panchayat, 6,600 blocks, 6,000 urban local bodies, and they went even up to the district level. The people gave their suggestions and their opinions, and they were equally, and they were discussed, and then they were implemented. 2019 summary in 22 languages, education dialogue with MPs, special meeting of Central Advisory Board of Education, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Human Resource Development, and finally 66 pages in English and 102 pages in Hindi draft is finally available, which is approved, and it's a very good draft, and I think we as a teachers, all of us should go through the draft of National Education Policy 2020. National Education Policy, its vision is the India-centered education system that contributes directly to transforming our nation sustainably into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high-quality education to all. The vision of the new education policy will be to establish new dimensions for Indian universities and other higher educational institutions and make them come true. This policy will give freedom to higher educational institutions and universities to redefine their role towards making new India, which will play a strong role in making India self-reliant. The important line is the role of the educational institutions and universities with much more freedom. But sometimes people say absolute autonomy leads to absolute corruption. So we have to put certain checks and balances also. But definitely in this policy, there is much more freedom to the higher education institutions and universities to redefine their role. These are the 5 foundational pillars of national education policy: access, affordability, equity, quality, and accountability. Sometimes people confuse between equality and equity. So this picture makes it clear. We focus on equity, not on equality. NEP 2020 distinctiveness. Equity and inclusiveness, as I discussed in the previous slide, it focuses on educating, enlightening, and empowering the students. It is Indian by soul. आत्मा में इसके भारतीयता है. International in approach. Of course, it is interactive, impactful, and inclusive. All of you know this person. He said, education is not a name of any degree or certificate that can be shown to others as a proof. This is what is actually prevalent in our own country, that simply educating means we relate it directly to the degree or the certificate which a student has. But actually, education is the name of our attitude, actions, language, and behavior with others in real life. And this all is included in the social and life skills which are focused in this National Education Policy 2020. 3S is the subject, speed, and school. There has to be a combination. Relevant subjects being taught at relevant speed and in the right kind of schools or institutions. And as there used to be a system in Gurukuls, the students have to stay and study in schools. Schools means it can be a school, or it is university, or it is a college. These are the some of the paradigm shifts. Ministry of Higher Education, Human Resource Development, this changes into Ministry of Education. Curriculum design and development, emphasizing locus and focus, which should be regional, contemporary, futuristic, and multidisciplinary. Teaching, learning, assessment, and evaluation. Conventional education and learning systems should be changed to holistic education system. Memory based learning, जिसको हम कहते हैं कि बच्चों को रटाया जाता है और उनको कह दिया जाता है कि पेपर में लिख दो और उससे बच्चों को नंबर मिल जाते हैं और डिग्री मिल जाती है, which is of no use. I consider degree as a passport only, but on the basis of that degree or passport, they are not able to get job, that is the visa. So we have to think on this. Memory-based learning to innovative and creative learning, curriculum delivery, pedagogy to andragogy. Pedagogy is a very popular word, but now we, in higher education system, we have to think on the andragogy, where the curriculum or the syllabus is learner-centric. Application-oriented teaching, internships, experiential learning, learning by doing, and value education. Focus on learning, research aptitude, creativity, and critical thinking and innovation, and it should be outcome-based. Credit-based multiple entry exit scheme and no time limit for completion, as Mr. God was also talking about. To enhance research facilities and ensure more quality publication and research, more budget for research. Presently, it is only 0.67% of GDP. Fast track promotion and awards incentives for performers. अभी कॉलेज में टीचर्स कह देते हैं कि भी हम काम क्यों करें, जो काम करते हैं उनको कौन सा इनाम मिल रहा है और जो नहीं कर रहे हैं उनको कौन सा पनिशमेंट मिल रहा है. But in this National Education Policy 2020, there is a fast track promotion and awards incentives for performers. Training of academic leaders to make them effective academic administrators. Internationalization, opening of campus of foreign universities, top 100 in our country and vice versa. फिजिक्स में एक इफेक्ट होता है जिसको हम इंडक्शन इफेक्ट कहते हैं, कि एक को सामने वाले को देखकर खुद में बदलाव आना. तो if there will be good universities opening their campus, foreign universities in our country, then definitely our institution, higher education institution in our own country will also try to uplift their standards. Research intensive and teaching intensive institutions. ITEP, this is a big change which is going to happen in teacher education programs. B.Ed will be 4-year B.Ed programs to have good and trained teachers. And of course, flexibility for students. Broad-based, multidisciplinary, holistic undergraduate education with flexible curricula, creative combinations of subjects, integration of vocational education, and multiple entry and exit points with appropriate certification. Which means more flexibility for students, including off-campus in various courses, to allow them to take their academic journey at their own pace. 1 year PG, 4-year UG. Presently UG is of 3 years and PG is of 2 years, but now it will be 1 year PG, 4 years UG, that too with multidisciplinary and multi-exit system. A student who completes 4 years of study in a course will receive a bachelor degree with research, a bachelor degree for 3 years of study, and an advanced diploma for finishing 2 years, and a diploma for completing a year of study. So the labor and the time spent in any educational institution will not go waste. Even if you spend 1 year and passes the exam, then you get a certificate, diploma. And if 2 years, then you get an advanced diploma. 3 years, you get a bachelor degree. And 4 years, you get a bachelor degree with research, where a student has an additional knowledge of a particular subject. Students will also be able to avail an academic bank of credit. It's like a bank in which you deposit some money that remains over there, and whenever you want to withdraw, you can. So whatever credits a student earn, either in 1 year or 2 year or 3 years or 4 years, they will be deposited in the academic bank of credit, which will be digitally stored academic credit from different institutions, so that these can be transferred and counted towards a final degree earned. This means they can also take a gap year or return to their studies after a few years. Here, a student has an advantage that he can take up any course from any university of a particular credits, and he can attend that course either online mode, offline mode, or this video tutorials, distance mode, and when he passes the exam, those credits will also be counted in the academic bank of credit. MPhil will be discontinued. Students who wish to pursue their PhDs can do so after their master's degree. More choice for students, fee capping. As Mr. God was also talking about the fee, common standards will be set for public and private higher educational institutions. Whether it is a private university, deemed university, state or central university, fees will be fixed so that nothing extra can be charged beyond the set cap, which hopefully will avoid such flare-ups in the future. Private higher educational institutions will also be encouraged to offer more scholarships to students. The National Scholarship Portal will be expanded to track the progress of students receiving scholarships. Measures such as online courses and digital repositories, funding for research, improved student services, credit-based recognition of MOOCs, massive online courses will be taken to ensure distance learning is at par with the highest quality in class programs. More autonomy for colleges in phased manner, graded autonomy. The system of affiliation will be phased out over 15 years, and a stage-wise mechanism for granted graded autonomy to colleges through a transparent system of graded accreditation will be established. Autonomous or constituent colleges, over a period of time, every college would develop into either an autonomous degree granting college or a constituent college of a university. A+ and above graded institution. This is very important for all the teaching faculty members and the principals and other academic leaders, that only the institutions which will get A+ and above grade during NAC accreditation, they will have academic freedom and can run their own programs and multidisciplinary courses and provide degrees. At present, we have several riders and constraints. Even if a principal and the IPAC members and other experts, they want to start certain innovative programs which have vocational components much more than the general components, they cannot start because there are so many constraints and riders. But once it will become a constituent college or an autonomous college, they will have limited autonomy and freedom to start programs of their own. Institutions all alike, no distinction between public and private institutions. Public and private higher education institutions will be governed by the same set of norms for regulation, accreditation, and academic standards. Multidisciplinary education and research universities. The new concept, MERUs, at par with IITs, IIMs, MERUs to be set up as models of best multidisciplinary education of global standards in the country. Multidisciplinary institutions, standalone technical universities, health science universities, legal and agricultural universities will aim to become multidisciplinary institutions. Or overcoming faculty shortage and mentoring. A national mission for mentoring will be established with a large pool of outstanding senior or retired faculties who would be willing to provide short and long-term mentoring, professional support to university and college teachers. For teacher education institutions, a new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education 2021 will be formulated by the NCTE in consultation with NCERT. By 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. Stringent action will be taken against substandard standalone teacher education institutions. You know what is the situation of our education colleges in the country. 70-80% are the non-attending institutions where no student comes, no teachers, only the institutions are running, and this has highly degraded the standard of education in our country. So I think all these issues are going to be taken up in the time to come. 4 pillars for implementation. It starts with the students, stakeholders, maybe the alumni, parents, and others, the school itself, and staff, teaching and non-teaching staff. So these are the 4 pillars for successful implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Institutional excellence. Unity of superlatives. Excellent infrastructure, good students, and excellent faculty. And curriculum delivery in a congenial and conducive atmosphere. If this type of atmosphere and this type of this combination is established in an educational institution, then excellence is bound to occur. Education, you all know, it is a process by which people acquire knowledge, skills, habits, values, or positive attitude. And purpose of education is the intellect is expanded, character is formed, strength of mind is increased, and it enables one to stand on one's own feet. Several decades ago, Swami Vivekananda said this thing, but all these aspects, they were missed somewhere. This single sentence includes everything what is included in the National Education Policy 2020. Expansion of intellect, formation of character, strength of mind increasing, and it enables one to stand on one's own feet. One should be able to get a job, or one should be able to provide a job when he comes out of any institution after passing its graduation or post-graduation. Value-based education, because we always talk about the value-based. What is this value, and what it cherishes and enriches is civilization, our own civilization, our art, our culture, our heritage, and our sacraments. Value-based education focuses on holistic and multidisciplinary education, which include learning, knowledge, science, technology, research, innovation, music, and arts, and aims to develop all capacities of human beings, maybe the intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, moral, and spiritual. If there is a good combination of these two, the holistic and multidisciplinary education adorned with the capacities of human beings, then excellent human beings, global human beings, which can compete globally, which can think globally, and which can act locally for the development of the society and country. Such type of citizens, beautiful citizens, excellent citizens, we will be able to produce. Emphasis on learning. Instead of teaching, there has to be more emphasis on learning. Instead of spending more time in schooling, it should be on education. Learning outcome has to be there. Earlier there used to be BA, BSc, BCom, silos of streams, but now it will be liberal education for holistic development. If a student is studying history and pole science, but if he has interest in physics also, so he can take it. Earlier, even up to present time, it was not possible. Though our government could start certain choice-based credit system, but it was not implemented in the country in letter and spirit, and we have to go a long way to implement it truly. User of knowledge, instead of user of knowledge, they have to be creator of knowledge. And instead of job seekers, the passing out students should be job providers. Education cannot be effective unless it helps a child open up himself to life. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Great scientist Albert Einstein said this thing. By education, I mean an all-round drawing out of the best in child and men, body, mind, and spirit. Mahatma Gandhi ji said this. Academic excellence alone can no longer assure success and happiness in life and career. And we only focus on this. Holistic development through education from the early stage of a child's life has become more important today than in the last century. Holistic development essentially means the development of intellectual, mental, physical, emotional, and social abilities in a child so that he or she is capable of facing the demands and challenges of everyday life. I personally feel that every child is unique and bright. He or she has her unique personality traits, interests, preferences, values, attitudes, strengths, and weaknesses. The educational curriculum must be able to help every child find his or her unique place in the world in alignment with the uniqueness that he or she has. How children will learn. This is very important. Role of school education, strengthening the roots. Schooling plays a decisive role in sustaining the higher education and lays the foundation stone for lifelong learning. The complete trajectory of education or learning is achieved from perceptual to conceptual to prospective to extraction. Studies have shown that through playful learning experiences, students can acquire broad, dynamic, and interconnected skills rapidly and effectively. What is the transformation? Present system is the 10 plus 2 12 years, which starts at the age of 6 years. Entry level is class first. There is only spoon feeding, cramming, only marks fetching, and cutthroat competition. But in the national education policy, it is not 10 plus 2 12 years. It is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, 15 years, which starts at the age of 3 years, early childhood care education, 3 years of pre-primary, and 2 years of primary. And it raises the learning levels of the student. This is a transformation from the present education system to the new education system. And this is again the same thing. On the left side, extreme left, it is a 12-year 10 plus 2 system. And thus in the middle, it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. This we used to follow when we used to play. Only this type of games were available, and we used to learn so many things by playing these games. It includes it develops how to focus, it develops how to learn, it develops how to work in a group, and so many other things. And presently, what the students are learning? Only electronic gadgets. Modern games in which a child sits in a room bounded by 4 walls and gazing at the digital screen, isolating from the rest of the world, resulting into serious health hazards. So we have to get rid of all such type of things. So foundation, 5 years. I told you that it is a 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So let us talk about the first 5 years. No exams, 3 years play, which we call as pre-primary, 2 years class first and second primary, foundation literacy and numeracy. बच्चों को केवल नंबर ज्ञान कराना है. Preparatory 3 years, exam starts at this level. Class 3rd to 5th, introduction to reading and writing, then activity plus study, application oriented teaching, think, understand and assimilate, language freedom, mother tongue or home language or any regional language. Middle standard 3 years, Indian language, class 6th to 8th, इसमें computer code, vocational training, math, science and arts. Secondary stage 4 years, no streams. Earlier we have science stream, arts stream and commerce stream. But there will be no stream as such. The student can opt subjects of its own choice and interest. So there will be one foreign language which is optional. If the student wants to take, he or she can, otherwise he can leave. Class 9 to 12 semester system, total 40 credits in 4 years, 10 credits per year, minimum 15 credits for vocational education. See, here they are focusing on the vocational education. Out of 40 credits in 4 years, 15 credits are to be from the vocational education. And these 4 years are multidisciplinary, multiple subjects and critical thinking. Now we come to the higher education, graduation. Instead of 3, it is 4 years and Indian language is additional. Now there will be no stream like BA, BSc or BCom. No stream. There is multiple entry and exit. There will be a credit bank. After 1 year certificate, 2 year diploma, 3 years pass degree, by which he can get the job. And if he spends 4 years, then it is an honors degree. And when we talk of the post-graduation, 1/2 years, undergraduate 3 years, PG will be 2 years. Undergraduate 4 years, PG will be 1 year. No stream, multidisciplinary, multiple subjects, critical thinking. And even in PG, there will be no streams like MA, MSc, MCom. There will be no MPhil and there will be PhD, minimum 4 years. Positive aspects. 6% of GDP on education as per National Education Policy 2020, capping on school fees, vocational education. Results, this is very important. How the results will be declared? Presently, they are only marks focused. But in the National Education Policy, these are the marks, assessment by self, friends, and teachers. Due to this, the outcome will be that there will be deep awareness among the students of the subject. There will be no cutthroat competition, competition to cooperation. Presently, there is a competition among the students, but because their assessment will be made by their friends also, so they will learn to cooperate with each other. So competition to cooperation, competition with oneself, because here you have to assess by yourself also, and this is very difficult. If somebody asks you to assess yourself, you cannot be dishonest. So now you have to compete within oneself, and because the teachers will also be assessing, though it is there, but it will also increase the teachers' respect among the minds of the students. Foreign universities, so 100 top-notch universities, mental, material, and resource sharing, it will resulting into this. Language prosperity, ancient Indian knowledge, ancient science knowledge. NRF, National Research Foundation, research intensive, teaching intensive, autonomous degree granting institutions, and integrated teacher education programs, 4 years, as I earlier discussed. National Education Policy and Higher Education, one regulator to rule all, a light but tight regulatory system. The Higher Education Commission of India will act as a single regulator for higher education, barring medical and legal colleges. The HECI, Higher Education Commission of India, will itself be split into 4 independent variables: National Higher Education Regulatory Council for regulating institutions, General Education Council for setting standards for institutions, Higher Education Grants Council for funding institutions, National Accreditation Council for accreditation of institutions. Presently, UGC is doing all these things, regulating the institutions, setting standards of the institutions, funding the institutions, and even this NEC is the autonomous body set up by UGC. So, but now there will be 4 independent verticals under the control of one, which will be called as Higher Education Commission of India. The Indian Council for Agricultural Research, ICAR, Veterinary Council, National Council for Teacher Education, Council for Agriculture, National Council for Vocational Education and Training will act as professional standard setting bodies, and common entrance exams for universities and colleges will be conducted by the National Testing Agency, which has already been started in our country. Values. We were talking about the values. Friends, values are of 2 types: face value and the intrinsic value. Face value changes with the circumstances, like currency notes. डिमोनेटाइजेशन हुआ, वही कागज थे जिन पे लिखा भी हुआ था, गवर्नर के साइन भी थे, लेकिन हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक सेंटेंस कहा और उसके बाद एक निश्चित समय के बाद उनकी वैल्यू 0 हो गई. मींस इट फेस वैल्यू इट चेंजेस विद द चेंज इन सर्कमस्टेंसेस, बट एज फार एज दिस इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यूज आर considered, they never change. If the intrinsic values are developed among the students, they will develop with the time, but they will never decrease, they will never finish. And like the gold, silver, etc., we have the intrinsic values like character, honesty, virtue, intellect, morality, spirituality. Here comes the role of the teacher. The role of a teacher is to make his disciple valuable, priceless, invaluable, and convert possibility into possible. A teacher is a teacher who can convert possibility into possible. एक अध्यापक ने विद्यार्थियों से एक सवाल पूछा कि चांदी और लोहे में से कौन सी मेटल प्रेशियस है. तो एक विद्यार्थी जो आमतौर पे शरारत करता था, उसने हाथ उठाया, तो टीचर डर गया, पता नहीं ये क्या बोलेगा, लेकिन उसने कहा चलो बताइए भाई. तो उसने कहा सर चांदी और लोहे में से लोहा ज्यादा प्रेशियस है. टीचर वाज सरप्राइज्ड. उसने कहा कैसे भाई, हाउ विल यू जस्टिफाई योर रिप्लाई. तो उसने कहा कि सर यदि इस लोहे को पारस मणि का संसर्ग मिल जाए तो ये सोना बन सकता है, और सोना चांदी से बहुत ज्यादा वैल्यूएबल होता है. तो हियर द पॉइंट इज दैट every child which is coming to our institutions is looking for a paras money in the teachers. So we as a teachers have to act as paras money, ताकि हम जिस भी विद्यार्थी के कांटेक्ट में आए, चाहे उसका IQ लेवल कम हो, चाहे उसका IQ लेवल ज्यादा हो, but we should be able to inculcate these intrinsic values among our students. How do we acquire values? And institutions should not be only for imparting knowledge, information to the students to earn their livelihood. Rather, it should be a man-making institution. We should focus on this: personal to personality, human to humanity, picture or portrait to character, resource to meditation, vision to outlook, possibility to possible, sympathy to empathy to compassion to emotion, and nation to nationalism. These are the qualities which an educational institution should try to impart among its students. All these values are developed imbibed when you follow or emulate someone. Teacher has a vital role to play during face-to-face interaction with the students. During certain discussions, I always say that there is no technology which can replace a teacher in a class, because there are certain qualities, there are certain values which a student develops by himself after looking at his teacher, his behavior, his attire, his talking style, his walking style, and all. So teacher is the utmost importance. Presence of a teacher in the class is utmost importance, and no technology can replace a teacher in a class. Teacher will remain always relevant and important. Becoming a teacher is a big deal, and this a teacher should feel from the inner core of his heart. अध्यापक बनना कोई बहुत आसान नहीं है, और यदि कोई अध्यापक बन जाता है तो उसको गर्व महसूस करना चाहिए और उसको ये अपने अंदर से ये महसूस करना चाहिए, yes, I am a teacher. Student emulate the way the teacher speaks, manners, habits, attire, facial expressions, laughter, and happiness. And this slide is very important. This is 3H's. A student's heart, and it contains emotions. इसको हिंदी में हम भाव कहते हैं. Head, मस्तिष्क, which contains knowledge, prudence, decision making ability, ज्ञान, विवेक, and निर्णय लेने की क्षमता. And hand, doings, courage, and service, कर्म, पराक्रम, and सेवा. If there is a proper combination and coordination of these 3H, heart, head, and hand, then the student can do wonders. Journey versus destination. As Mr. God was also talking, that draft NEP is well drafted. It is in the public domain, and there is a roadmap also. Now, the thing is that NEP is clear about its destination. There is a long list of what we will achieve at the end. Destination is clear, but silent about the journey. So we as a teachers, we as the academic leaders, when at the college level or the university level, we have to find our own paths so that we can reach the destination. क्योंकि किसी ने ठीक कहा है कि लीक पर वो चलें जिनके पग बोझिल और हारे हैं, हमें तो अपने कदमों से बने मंजिल के निशान प्यारे हैं. तो हमें खुद अपना रास्ता बनाना पड़ेगा उस डेस्टिनेशन पर पहुंचने के लिए, और उसके लिए हमारे सामने बहुत सारी चुनौतियां भी आएंगी, बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस भी आएंगी. उनको झेलते हुए, उनका सॉल्यूशन निकालते हुए हमें वहां पर पहुंचना है. एंड द एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम्स ऑफ दिस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020: holistically developed, forward-looking and innovative global students, manpower, who have knowledge, creativity, critical thinking, aptitude of science and technology, research, and feeling of sympathy, empathy, nationalism, patriotism, and secularism. Nation first, character must. बच्चों के अंदर ये फीलिंग आएगी. Stay in India, study in India, brain drain to brain gain, intent, talent, patent, and relevant, locus, focus, local, global, and local. Outcomes of NEP 2020: universalization from early childhood care and education ECCE to secondary education by 2030. This is the roadmap aligning with Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4. A plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. SDG is the Sustainable Development Goal, which is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. तो इस तरह के 17 SDG हैं, and education comes under SDG 4. Attaining foundational learning and numeracy skills, 100% gross enrollment ratio in preschool and secondary level by 2030, bringing back 2 crore out of school children, teachers to be prepared for assessment reforms by 2023, inclusive and equitable education system by 2030, board exams to test core concepts and application of knowledge. Every child will come out of school adept in at least one skill, common standards of learning in public and private schools and other institutions. Implementation: wake up, know, tell others, contribute, and make the policy successful. This is the right time. Swami Vivekananda rightly said that arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is achieved. उठो जागो और लक्ष्य प्राप्ति तक रुको मत. So this is the right time to develop a roadmap to decide the journey to the destination. And for this multi-level implementation of this policy in letter and spirit requires independent committees of academic leaders and administrators, and the central government as well as state government, they are working on their own at different policies at the level of schools, at the level of colleges, at the level of universities, at the level of the state government and central government. And there are various committees which have been constituted and certain are in process. Committee on higher education, committee for school education, committee for role of higher education institutions in self-reliant India, and committee for role of schools in self-reliant India. There are prospects, there are opportunities, but there are challenges also, because someone has rightly said that challenges are must for change. If you want to bring a change in the country's education system, then you have to be ready to face the challenges. Self-reliant India, education and industry, employment generation, infrastructure augmentation, gross enrollment ratio in the higher education to be raised to 50% by 2035, and it is currently 26% only. The National Research Foundation will be created as an apex body for fostering a strong research culture and building research capacity across higher education. MERUS, I talked about multidisciplinary education research. It is very easy to talk about all these things, but it is very, very difficult and time-taking to establish all such institutions. And it requires a lot of infrastructure and money also. Develop new curriculum, vocational training with internship, global reach, over 100 action points with timeline, legislative process of change, budget, 2 crore students in school appointments. 2 crore students will be brought to the schools in terms of gross enrollment ratio, then appointments have to be made. And you all very well know that what is the status of appointments in our universities and colleges. The government has to think on it, opening new and more universities, bridging the regional gap, and addressing the poverty challenge also. These are some of the challenges in the implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. This is a slide. Which is more important? This big panda, and there is a dragon on his back. The panda is asking, which is more important? Asked big panda, the journey or the destination? Destination is clear in NAP 2020. Journey we have to decide. Roadmap we have to decide. So the tiny dragon said the company. So friends, it is very, very important that how do you relish it? How do you enjoy it? How when developing various policies, developing the curriculum, making out various pathways. So how do you enjoy it? Because unless you enjoy doing something, you cannot bring out the best out of it. So this is very, very important. And the company is very, very important. And finally, I would like to conclude with this. सहानुभूति, संवेदना, करुणा और मानवता से उत्प्रेरित मानव महामानव बन जाता है, जो समाज और राष्ट्र को एक नई दिशा दे सकता है और समाज कल्याण, व्यक्ति निर्माण एवं राष्ट्र निर्माण में एक सशक्त भूमिका निभा सकता है. किसी ने ठीक कहा है, ख्यालातों के बदलने से भी निकलता है नया दिन, सिर्फ सूरज के चमकने से ही सवेरा नहीं होता. और ये अटल बिहारी जी की लाइन है जो मेरे को बहुत ही प्रेरित करती हैं और आप सबको भी करेंगी, क्योंकि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को लेके बहुत सारे लोगों के दिमाग में बहुत तरह की बातें हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा है, छोटे मन वाला कभी बड़ा नहीं होता और टूटे मन वाला कभी खड़ा नहीं होता. तो हमें छोटा मन भी नहीं रखना है और अपने मन को टूटने भी नहीं देना है. हमें इसमें सकारात्मकता देखनी है नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में. और मैं पूर्ण विश्वास के साथ ये कह सकता हूँ कि जो भी इसमें पर्सपेक्टिव्स मेंशन्ड हैं, दो देयर विल बी चैलेंजेस, बट जो भी पर्सपेक्टिव मेंशन्स हैं, यदि इनको इम्प्लीमेंट करने में वी एज द एकेडमिक लीडर्स, द टीचर्स एंड द पॉलिसी मेकर्स, यदि इन ट्रू लेटर एंड स्पिरिट हम इसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाते हैं, तो भारत को दोबारा विश्व गुरु बनने से कोई नहीं रोक सकता. Thank you very much for giving me a patient listening. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. If you have any query, you can please type in the chat box.
हेलो हेलो
हेलो, हाँ जी, हाँ जी,
मैं 2 मिनट बात करना चाहता था.
हाँ जी, श्योर सर.
I would like to congratulate Mr. K.K. Gupta for making a comprehensive presentation, and I would say one of the best I heard of national education policy. Although he was talking more of design, emphasizing upon the role of teacher, things. But anyhow, it appears that there is a thorough reading of this education policy, and I really appreciate with the with his knowledge and clarity on the issue, and and also he made a very beautiful presentation. It was a connected presentation. Ideas were flowing from one stage to another, and the roadmap, which is basically present in the national education policy, basically, and the emphasis upon the role and the effort to be made by the warriors of, I must say warriors, the field people who are to conduct the education, conduct the classes, conduct the program. Basically, that was the message given. So I again congratulate him, and we would give him another opportunity for speaking on national education policy at different levels. So I thank him on behalf of DAV CMC also, that he has really made a good effort, and also he has done a lot of homework also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If any participant has any query, please ask in the chat box. You can type in the chat box. Okay, I request Khatri sir for the vote of thanks. Over to Khatri sir.
हाँ नमस्कार, आवाज नहीं आ रही राजेश जी? राजेश जी ने माइक ऑन नहीं किया अपना शायद.
यस
Sir,
अब आ रही है मेरी बात सर?
ना अब आ रही है.
राइट सर, सॉरी. So it is much said about the keynote speaker by our honorable director Shri Shivramanji God, which is a prominent personality in the Haryana government, occupying various keynote posts and justifying his post, and at present he very well understands the problems of the teacher fraternity and doing a lot for DAV CMC, and on behalf of DAV CMC and DAV Campus Abohar, and from our principal Dr. Rajesh Mahajan, I'm very much thankful to my classmate as well as Principal Krishan Kanji for sharing such a beautiful, well-structured presentation on such a nice digital platform, and really it comes very much clear about the national education policy, which I have read much, but many things are being made clear by you by mentioning the face value, intrinsic value, and you have given, or rather, I should say, you have minimized the journey between the destination. So you have let us know how our journey be a good one, as well as our director sir was also very much focusing on G factor, S factor, and we are really enlightened by such a speech. And again, I am now summing up. So I'm very much thankful, and thank you very much, sir, for giving us such a nice digital platform. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.